Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Billievers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome to the last regular season edition of Pick'em for the 2019-2020 NFL season. I've had a great time picking these games all season long. We'll continue to do so in the playoffs, but here we are entering Week 17. So Week 17, always a little tricky to predict. Before we get into predictions, however, if you're new to the channel, you want to make sure you hit that subscribe button. Guys, I know the season's coming to an end, and for us Bills fans, that's a little depressing. We know that the Bills are going to see some more football than we're used to seeing. Bills clinching the playoff spot already. But guys, I will have you covered on all Buffalo sports, including the Sabres, the Bandits, all of that, and all up-to-date Buffalo Bills news. We'll talk about the NFL draft, we'll talk about free agency during the offseason. So make sure if you haven't hit that subscribe button, you hit that subscribe button, like this video, give it a thumbs up, and go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know who you think is going to win. Guys, not only do we give you the games straight up, but if you've watched before, you know that we give you the games against the spread as well. Now, last week, we did pretty good, especially straight up. Straight up, picking these games, we went 13-3 last week, and then against the spread, we went 9-7. This gives us a straight-up record in 2019 of 148-92, and then against the spread, we're talking 131-109. Again, I know straight up, I'm somewhere in the 60% range. Just want to keep raising it. Thought my goal at the end of the season could be 62-63%, and then hopefully not getting 100 losses. And then with 92 losses, I don't think I'm going to get 8 losses this week. I really hope not, at least. And then we should be good as far as the not getting 100 losses. Hope to do better next year. 148-92, we can improve on that, but that will be something that we look forward to next season as we do these pick'em videos. But we're talking about Week 17. And again, sometimes Week 17 video is hard to predict, right? Because some teams sitting players, you don't know how long teams are going to play their starters. We know the Bills say they're going to play their starters, but that doesn't mean we know how long that's going to be. We know that the Ravens are sitting their starters. What does that mean for the game between the Steelers and Ravens? There's a lot of things that can happen in that game, obviously. But let's go through these picks, and we'll talk about some of these games as they show up. Most of these games, no playoff implications going into Week 17, and we start off with one of those games with the Cleveland Browns going to Cincinnati, playing the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Cincinnati last week with their loss to Miami clinched the #1 overall draft pick. So the Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock for the 2020 NFL draft. Will they leave their home fans happy getting a win here? Guys, I think the Browns are the more talented team. And we're looking at two teams not playing for much. You got to look at the talent and just simply say who is the more talented team here. I think that's the Cleveland Browns. Give me the Cleveland Browns to win. Give me the Cleveland Browns to cover a 2.5 point spread in Cincinnati. Then you go to Minnesota, where the Minnesota Vikings, with their loss on Monday night, can't do any better than the 6th seed. So who are they going to play? You know, you might not see Kirk Cousins, you might not see Adam Thielen, you might not see Stephon Diggs. Going up against the Bears, Chicago Bears on the road a couple weeks ago, losing a chance to be in the playoffs this year. Disappointing season for them. Can they end it with a bang? The Vikings are favored by a point in this game. Normally when this team, the team like this is at home, not much to play for, but you still want to leave that home crowd something to be happy about, right? Because you know you're probably not getting actually they can't, as a 6th seed, they can't get a playoff game at home. So you know this is your last home game of the season. You want to leave the home fans happy heading into the playoffs. Give me the Vikings to win this game. Give me the Vikings to cover a 1-point spread. Moving on to Jacksonville, again, a game that is meaningless as far as playoff implications. You got the Indianapolis Colts, who have just looked bad the past few weeks, going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars just fired Tom Coughlin as far as head of personnel or wherever he was. So Tom Coughlin's gone. However, there are reports that everyone else, as far as Doug Marrone and others, are going to stay in Jacksonville. Give me the Jaguars to win this game at home. I know the 3.5 point underdogs. I know Jacoby Brissett still has something he wants to prove as far as being a potential starter in the NFL. Reports coming out that Irsay and others might be looking for a quarterback in the draft. If you're a Colts fan, that's something that you can look forward to in this year's NFL draft. But I think Jacoby Brissett might still try to prove something. I just haven't been impressed with them the past few weeks. Give me the Jaguars to win this game straight up. That means give me the Jaguars to cover and beat a 3.5 point spread. Moving on to Tampa Bay, where Tampa Bay is a 1.5 point favorite over the Atlanta Falcons. Guys, I really like the Falcons in this matchup. I just really cannot trust Jameis Winston. We saw what he did last week against the Houston Texans in that Jekyll and Hyde type game, especially in the first half. We saw what he did there. Don't know if I could trust Tampa Bay. Both these teams can get hot, right? We've seen both these teams get hot. We saw Julio Jones have a huge week last week. I expect that same type of play to continue this week. Give me the Falcons to win this game, going into the offseason, getting a win under their belt and feeling good about themselves. Give me them to cover the spread. Again, disappointing season for Atlanta. Higher expectations for them coming into the season. I expect them to end with a win here. The Redskins at Cowboys game, this should be an interesting one. Now, at the same time the Cowboys are playing, the Eagles will be playing. And so if the Eagles win, they clinch the NFC East. If the Eagles lose and the Cowboys win, the Cowboys then clinch the NFC East. So the Cowboys playing for everything in this game. The Redskins really not playing for much. Took the Giants to overtime last week. Thought they might get that upset, but it's going to be really tough to play this Dallas Cowboy team. I wonder how inspired this Cowboy team is going to be after a disappointing week last week, but they know they need this one, right? So give me the Cowboys to win this game. However, it's a 10.5-point spread. You know how I feel about divisional games. Always going to be close. Give me the Redskins to cover a 10.5-point spread. Give me the Cowboys to win the game that will lead us to that Eagles game we'll talk about in a little bit. If the Eagles win, then they still win the division. But if the Eagles lose and the Cowboys win, that opens up the NFC East. But first, we're going to go to Carolina, where the Carolina Panthers are 13-point underdogs to the New Orleans Saints, who, if things go their way, the Saints' way, they can still definitely get that first round bye in the NFC playoffs. So they still have a lot to play for. The Panthers just haven't looked good, including that game last week against Atlanta. That was horrendous. If you're a Panthers fan, give me the New Orleans Saints to run all over this team, run, pass, however they decide to do it. Give me the New Orleans Saints to win this game and give me the Saints to cover a big 13-point spread. Then you go on to that game in East Rutherford, New Jersey, where the Giants play the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, this game taking place at the same time as that Cowboys game. So you know those Cowboys will be doing some scoreboard watching. The Eagles don't want to do scoreboard watching. If the Eagles are watching the scoreboard, that means play is not going well for them on the field, and they're seeing how Dallas is doing. The Eagles should win this game. The Eagles are 4.5-point favorites in this one. Eagles have everything to play for in this one. If they win the NFC East. The Giants, I'm not sure what they have to play for other than spoiler. I'm sure they would love to play spoiler. I'm sure Saquon Barkley would love to have the type of game he had last week against the Redskins. I just think the Eagles will win this game and cover a 4.5-point spread and clinch the NFC East. Then moving on to Baltimore. Again, we know Baltimore is sitting all their starters against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Baltimore 2-point underdogs, as they're going to have RG3 calling the game. And Pittsburgh needs this win. If they win and the Titans lose, then they get that sixth spot in the AFC playoffs. So still a lot of fun to be had in Week 17. So a lot of things to be determined. Give me the Baltimore Ravens to win this game. Just can't trust Devlin Hodges. Might have Mason Rudolph in. That might change how I feel about this game. But if Devlin Hodges is in there especially, give me the Ravens to win this game. They still have stuff to prove, right? That second string is going to prove that they belong on a football field. So give me the Ravens to upset this Pittsburgh Steelers team. So win this game outright and beat the spread. Then you go on to Buffalo, baby, where our Buffalo Bills go up against the New Jersey Jets. I think that the Buffalo Bills at home, I said the same thing about the Vikings, right? They can't do anything as far as playoff positioning. The Bills are guaranteed locked in that 5 seed. So they can't do anything as far as playoff positioning, but I think they want to leave their home crowd happy heading into the playoffs. Coach McDermott came out earlier this week and said that the starters will play. Now, we don't know how long they'll play, but they will play in this game. Give me the Buffalo Bills to win this game at home, and give me the Bills to cover a 1.5-point spread. Go Bills, end the season on a high note. Get to that 11 wins that I talked about at the beginning of the season. Make my prediction correct. Would love that so much if you could do that. Then you go on to New England, where if the Patriots lose, they potentially lose the chance at first round bye. They are going up against the Miami Dolphins. They are 15.5-point favorites. And guys, I revert back to week 1 when the Dolphins played the Ravens week 1. The Ravens ran over the Dolphins. I think there was 45-10 or something like that in that game. I expect the same type of game here. I expect New England to dominate this game. I know as Bills fans, we hate hearing that. I know we don't want them to have the second seed and the first round bye, but I just don't see it not happening. as I say a double negative, but that's okay. You guys don't mind. But I see the New England Patriots running away with this game early and them covering a 15.5 point spread. Going to Detroit with the Green Bay Packers, again, with a chance at the #1 overall seed, play the Detroit Lions. The Packers currently 12.5 point favorites. And again, big spread. I still expect to cover here. Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers pulling off a big win Monday night against the Minnesota Vikings. I expect them to come out guns blazing here. I expect the Packers to win this game. Expect the Packers to cover a 12.5 point spread against a Detroit team that, since Matthew Stafford went out, just seems to have gotten worse and worse and worse every single week. And then you go to Houston, where the Houston Texans play the Tennessee Titans. Last week, the Houston Texans wrap up the AFC South Division with their win. Tennessee Titans need a win, and they are in the playoffs. So that's what the Titans are looking for. Titans are 3.5 point favorites in this game, even though they are on the road. The Texans still have something to play for, although what they have to play for might already be determined by this point in the day. If the Houston Texans win and the Chiefs lose, then the Texans move up to that 3 seed. Chiefs move down to the 4 seed. So the Texans playing the Titans, I like the Texans at home in this game, even though they are 3.5 point underdogs. Give me the Texans to win this game, opening the door for the Oakland Raiders potentially to get a playoff spot. But give me the Texans to win this game, and give me the Texans to beat a 3.5 point spread. Then you go on to the Chargers at Chiefs. Chiefs 8.5 point favorites in this one. Give me the Chiefs to win this game. Give me the Chargers to cover a 8.5 point spread. Again, if everything goes my way, the Chiefs stay the 3 seed, Texans stay the 4 seed, Patriots stay the 2 seed. But that's all to be determined this weekend as well. Then you move on to the LA Rams. The Rams 7.5 point favorites in one of those games that has no playoff implications against the Arizona Cardinals. You know, I've picked the Cardinals a lot to cover a lot of spreads this season. I expect them to cover a 7.5 point spread here. But give me the Rams to win this game. I'm a little disappointed with how their season has gone with the loss to the Niners last Saturday. They completely are eliminated from playoff potential. But give me the Rams to win this game at home. But give me the Cardinals to cover a 7.5 point spread. Then you go on to Denver, where the Oakland Raiders, again, if everything holds true, they have a shot to make the playoffs, still sitting there at 7-8 with a win over Denver. Denver 3.5 point favorites at home. Denver's always tough at home. But give me the Raiders with those slim playoff chances to win this game, and give me the Raiders to cover that 3.5 point spread then. And then you go on to the Sunday Night Football. This game not only possibly determine the #1 seed in the NFC, but also is going to determine the winner of the NFC West Division. The Seahawks 3-point underdogs as they get Marshawn Lynch out of retirement for this game and for a playoff push. They are going against the 49ers. 49ers off a big win against against the Rams last week. Seattle coming off that disappointing loss to Arizona. Give me the Seattle Seahawks to win this game at home. That will mean the Seattle Seahawks have beaten those 49ers twice this season. Give me the Seahawks to win this game. Give me the Seahawks to cover the spread. Again, guys, last regular season week in the 2019-2020 NFL season, the NFL's 100th season of us doing these pick'em videos. I really have appreciated all of you guys who joined me. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday. I look forward to talking to you all soon, including tonight when we do our live pregame of the game between the Buffalo Bills and the New Jersey Jets. So make sure you join tonight at 9 o'clock. Again, no Thursday Night Football, so that means we get to free up our schedule a little bit, schedule it a little bit earlier, so that way I can catch you and you guys can join me as we go live to give that pregame. So again, those are my picks for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed them. Let me know what you think in the comment section, who you think is going to win, who you think is going to lose. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Until I do, go Bills.